all those people, they made profit in gold. They escaped from inflation into an asset or a commodity, depending on how you want to call it. I think some of them are going to rotate their profits into Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin has gone not as well as everyone was expecting, which means there's an opportunity there because it hasn't gone banana yet. So if I would be someone who invested into stocks, silver and gold and thinking, I made some money now, I made some profit, what am I going to do with it? I mean, where I'm going to park my profits? Well, then maybe Bitcoin could be a play.
Bitcoin is the ultimate place to park profits. It's you said it just wasn't. I want to really touch on that because people always say, yeah, but gold has value because it's used in jewelry and it's used in like smartphones and all that. I'm like, that's such a small use case. And I think it's a bug. I think if we really want to have a store of value, there should just be a store of value. But then always the argument comes of, hey, but this is just a speculation then. How do you respond to that? Because like, yes, it only has the function of money, which makes it a good money. But then people say, okay, so it's only speculation then. And I'm like, no, but it doesn't need other use cases. It actually benefits because it does not have other use cases.
Yeah, super. Exactly. I agree. First of all, the jewelry argument is so broken because I don't remember out of my head. So don't quote me in the comments, but a small percentage of gold is used in jewelry. And by the way, I would invite you to go and buy a ring with a diamond on top and then resell it the next day. You lose at least 50% value. So it's not a good store of value. Even diamonds are it's ridiculous, right? I know stories of people proposed or they got engaged and they broke up after the ring itself was worth nothing. So the old store of value jewelry doesn't even make sense. Now, there's an argument in maybe watches, perhaps, even though everyone who does love watches, they tell you it is not a store of value because Rolexes, they keep their value better than fiat, but it depends. It depends on how you acquire them. If you acquire them from a authorized dealership, maybe, but if you buy secondhand, you pay 3 times the amount. So again, it's all a speculation. And also, I would say value is very subjective. Some people are saying, oh, it doesn't have any value. Well, first of all, it doesn't matter because if we all decide collectively that whatever it is has value, even if it has no value, is going to be worth more in fiat. So there is also the argument where people are saying, oh, it's worth nothing. Well, that's what you think. That's when Peter Schiff talks about gold and Bitcoin and they do all the debates, he keeps saying it has no value. Well, that's what you think. I mean, last I checked, it was almost worth $90,000. So the fact that you don't see value in something doesn't mean it doesn't have value. It means that you don't believe in it, which is totally fine, but that doesn't mean the market wouldn't have a different opinion. So there is a very difference in what you can do with it. And besides the fact that Bitcoin, you can do a lot of stuff, but let's park them on the side for a minute. Even if Bitcoin was a rock and it was used for nothing, but we all collectively decide that we want it, well, then it has value. So the whole argument about value and speculation is ridiculous. Plus, people are saying, oh, people buy Bitcoin because they want to make more money. Well, that's investment. Hello. Why people buy the stock and gold? Because they want to make more fiat. It's the same. I mean, you are attacking investing. Any investor is projecting to make more money when they acquire an asset. So the whole argument makes me laugh because it doesn't make any sense.
I always have this quote, like everything is an investment except Bitcoin, it's savings and money. So it's like if you think about a Rolex, it can be great, but it can also be horrible. So you have to know which one to buy and when and all of those, which reminds me of investing. It's the same with stocks. Stocks in general are horrible. They keep up only with inflation a little bit. But if you pick the right stocks, you're doing amazing. If you pick the wrong stocks, you can even like lose money. So it comes back down to investing. And so you have to do a lot of research. And then opposite to that is Bitcoin, where you just save your money in. You don't have to keep up with news. Now, we do keep up with news a lot, and it's super fun. But you could just say, hey, I have Bitcoin, and I never think about Bitcoin ever again. It's just my money. And I just keep it at that. And I actually met some people on those meetups. Usually you meet them where they say like, hey, I really don't know what's going on actually in Bitcoin. I just want to meet once a month some Bitcoiners at a local meetup, and that's all I do in Bitcoin. The whole other thing is just my life, and I use Bitcoin actually to get more life back into my life, into my time, and not to just keep up with Bitcoin news, which could be very beneficial to your life. But you're not required to spend time reading what Bitcoin is currently doing, even though we are incentivized to do it because it's volatile and we still want to check on our Bitcoin if it's doing good.
Exactly, and it will affect your perspective on the price itself. So if you do put the time to study, whatever it is, it could be even like you said, Rolexes. I know a lot of friends in Dubai, they bought a bunch of watches and they are down in value because the market was inflated a while back, and they maybe acquire a piece for $200,000 and today is worth 80. So like you said, if you can afford to wait long enough, if you would ask me, would you rather have a Rolex or $50,000 on your bank account? I'll pick a Rolex, of course, because dollars are destroying themselves, whether a watch is an asset at least. But who knows? Like you said, it's super volatile, like Bitcoin is. But if you study, if you put the time to understand why you are acquiring it, when there is a time of turbulence, when the price corrects a little bit, you won't feel the panic of selling it. If anything, you will feel the panic of buying it because you understood what it does. So learning what are you buying and what are you investing is going to help you in whatever it is. Like if you want to buy Pokemon cards, instead of buying random Pokemon cards, it's better if you do some research and see which one have quote unquote value. Again, to talk about the value discussion we said earlier, I mean, Logan Paul has a Pokemon card around his neck, which is worth $7 million, right? The Pikachu Illustrator is called. And hey, we could talk about why it's a bad idea to store your value into a Pokemon card. But hey, there is the market, there is people, they want it. So if people decide collectively, again, that it has value, it doesn't matter what it does. Like a Pokemon card is not doing anything. It's just like a collectible. So it's funny how some people, like you said, are saying, oh, Bitcoin is a bad idea, but Pokemon cards, yeah, it's the way to go. Hey, good luck with that, man. I mean, you decide where to put your money. But I don't have any Pokemon cards. I don't have any watches. I just have Bitcoin.
Yeah, don't put a $7 million item around your neck also, please.
That would be a good idea. Exactly.
And if you do, please hire a lot of security.
Exactly.
Let's talk about 2026, what you expect and what you kind of it's always funny with predictions because like we are more likely to be wrong than right.
Sure.
And at least how we've been the last year. But I think it's valuable to think about what the coming year might bring and where we might end up in 2026 and how we align and what other people think also. How do you think how 2026 will play out?
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, price is exciting because again, what are we comparing Bitcoin to? Because interesting enough, if you compare Bitcoin versus gold, Bitcoin has been into a bear market since 2024. So again, it depends on what are you using to compare the value of Bitcoin. Because if you shift from dollars to gold, it's a different story. Actually, I would encourage you guys to chart it and just go gold versus Bitcoin. You would see that we've been in a bear market for the last 12 months. Benjamin Cohen has a beautiful video out that talks about it. Super interesting. So again, if you use fiat, which fiat destroys itself over time, so it wouldn't be the best way to compare what is valuable because you're using something that is destroying itself over time to compare something that's going the opposite. So, but anyway, this is what people like to look into: dollars, euros, pounds, and so forth. So I'm expecting the 4-year cycles to be killed completely. And like we said earlier, in order to die once for all, we have to go and put an all-time high in now, basically in 2026. And I'm expecting that to happen. Why? Because I think Bitcoin is the best, obviously, store of value. It's the best way to save is money. I mean, at least in my life, I have next to zero fiat in my life, and I couldn't care less about fiat. Of course, it's impacting my life because I'm going to have to pay rent in February. And the plan was to use some of the volatility on the upside to sell some of the Bitcoin, because I do sell Bitcoin. I'm a big proponent of selling Bitcoin if you are all in. Of course, if you use Bitcoin as a saving account, you shouldn't play the cycles and try to be clever. You just buy and hold, no financial advice. But if you are all in, like I am, you have no other option. So I was planning to use the pump in Q4 that I was expecting to then sell some to pay rent in February. But hey, no biggie. I will pay rent in February. I will sell whatever I have to sell to sustain my life and my choices. And I'm expecting 2026 to be quite interesting because there's going to be a quantitative easing. I'm expecting the Feds to start running up the machine to print more money, to give a check of $2,000 Trump was talking about. Jerome Powell is going to be replaced by someone else who cannot wait to turn the printer on. So I think liquidity is going to impact these new rally. And we have seen this asset, aka Bitcoin, operating in those cycles. But I think that's over, because liquidity is going to come in, I believe, in the US, which is going to dictate everywhere else what's going to happen. So I'm expecting a decent pump. Price, I can throw a couple. I think 180, 200 will be decent, will be nice. But I'm not buying Bitcoin because I'm expecting that 12 months later is going up in value. I have a 10, 15, 20 years ahead of me. So I don't care if we see a 2025, 2026, 2028 for what matters. All I'm thinking about is 10, 15, 20 years ahead. And I believe from where we are today to 20 years in the future, which I'll be 70, Bitcoin is going to be worth more. So I can throw numbers on the wall, but I wouldn't wait until I'm seeing, by the way, a lot of people saying, 40,000 Bitcoin in 2026, calling for a big correction, which doesn't make any sense because we haven't gone up much. So why the hell we should go down that much? I mean, from 126 down to 40,000 is like, what, 70% correction? Why? It doesn't make any sense. A diminishing return, also diminishing in losses, right? So if we would have gone bananas into 200,000, okay, fair to say that maybe a big correction would happen, but we haven't gone bananas, so I don't think we're going to drop aggressively. So I think 80,000 is going to be an interesting number to see if we can hold it. We could go a little bit lower, down to 70s or the previous all-time high cycle before. Totally fine. I will actually be happy and welcome the opportunity to accumulate more Bitcoin. But I'm expecting 2026 to be extremely bullish. So I would buy, like I said, no financial advice, but I would have a plan that is going to allow me to buy Bitcoin every single month, no matter what, for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Because if you try to be clever, if you want to play the market, you're going to get spanked. And I say all the time in the market beats timing the market. So if you are one who says, I'm going to wait until it goes down to 60 and then buy and then double it when it's set, that's not a good strategy, because when you see, if we drop to let's say from 126 to 60,000, you're not going to buy because you're going to be in fear. And you're going to say, it's gone to 60. Well, it's going to go to 20 now, right? This is greed. So best thing you can do is have fun with price prediction, throw them some on the wall and see what sticks, but have a plan every month, every week, money you can afford to invest for 10, 15, even 20 years. That's how I think everyone should play.
I love it. And you actually, I wrote it down just to check it later and remember it for me. But yours are really aligning with mine, and we haven't spoken before, and I didn't show you this before also, just to for the viewers.
Transparency, yeah.
I thought about, because I saw that tweet from some German guy in Bitcoin that made the 2026 prediction. I was like, it's kind of fun exercise to just put a tweet out in the beginning of 2026 and see how accurate you were, with obviously no guarantee. And also I'm not acting on it. So I'm not a trader that's just I'm expecting Bitcoin to be at 110K at February. And then I'm selling because then it goes to 70K. I'm not doing that shit. I'm just saying the next year, if I think about the macro picture, I could imagine those things that I've written down here might happen. And for those who listen, I wrote down the first point: Bitcoin will hit 150K and end the year above 100K. So somewhere in this year, I think we have a spike, which might be really, how people say, face melting. But I wanted to be conservative with 150K. I think if we really have a spike, some surge, I think we will go well beyond 150K, because we already, I think the previous all-time high was 126, 127 or something like that. And then we end the year above 100K. I have a very hard time believing that we end 2026 under 100K. I would be highly surprised. And then we can do a New Year's Eve episode on the 31st to see how wrong we were. But I have a very hard time believing Bitcoin under 100K with all the liquidity and macro picture that is now coming in. Then I think as gold and silver outperform Bitcoin this year, I think the reverse will be the case for, or I have to say now last year. Gold and silver outperformed last year, and now I think Bitcoin will outperform gold and silver this year. This is a fun one. I'm now more and more getting into treasury companies. And just full disclosure, I own a little bit of MSTR finally. I made a whole stream about it. And I also bought like it's not even worth mentioning. I think I bought like 5 shares of like Jack Mallers thing.
At the 21. The 21.
Yeah, 21, yeah. Just full disclosure. But I do think because we have a bullish year, that strategy probably will outperform Bitcoin a little bit. I think Bitcoin over the long run is the best thing because you not only get the number go up, but also like the freedom go up technology. Then this is the most risky one that I put in there. Because I have no clue about that. I obviously have no insider information in any companies. But I think there will be 2 new S&P 500 companies that will buy Bitcoin this year. This is the one, if I had to delete one, I probably would delete this one. This is a risky one. Now, this is a very easy one. This is almost like, yeah, of course, there will be a new Fed chair. The chances of that, I think, are 99.9%. I almost don't see it happening. I'm probably like, maybe when this is going on air, Trump might already have announced something. And then I think we get back to actual quantitative easing. Now there's like, you can define it in different ways of what is actually quantitative easing, because we're always printing money somehow. But I think we really get back to a state where there's a lot more liquidity in the market. We might actually see something, as you said, like having 2K checks going out to people. Trump has, I think the midterms are coming up. And so like he really wants a flourishing Bitcoin price, a flourishing stock market, a flourishing all of that, because apparently then presidents are looking good. I don't know why, but that's apparently how it is. What are your thoughts on those things?
I love them. Like you said, we are super in line. The thing that you have there, at least to a new S&P company, this I didn't think about it, but that's a good guess. It's a good guess. I guess. I mean, I'm digging it. I like it. I didn't think about that one, but it's possible. It's very possible. Also, the strategy itself is going to be in the S&P, I think, and this year is going to happen because they got rejected in 2025. But I think they're going to meet the criteria, so that's another big boost. I don't own personally MSTR. I don't have strategy in my portfolio. I'm a Bitcoin Taliban, as they call me, super maxi. But I see a case for it. Like, why not? It's they basically supercharge Bitcoin in so many different ways. So I think it's going to do well. And like you said there, gold and silver are going to be outperformed by Bitcoin. I think so as well. It was a bit of a surprise, like we discussed in the beginning. I was not expecting Bitcoin to be slapped by gold. And by the way, someone commented on one of my videos a couple of days ago, which I thought it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And this guy said, oh no, but you don't understand. Silver has gone out from I wish I would make this up, but I swear it's a true story. He said silver broke a 45 years old cap and handle. Okay, so which is a pattern in technical analysis. And I'm like, bro, 45 years old. I mean, that's desperation right there. I don't even know if you can measure something that long. But anyway, as we say all the time, TA or technical analysis, male astrology. So I don't put much attention to it. But it's interesting how those guys are coming up and saying, oh, silver is going to go. I think you're buying the top here, by the way, if you're buying silver. But it's really interesting how, again, people are just following the herd. Like if something is pumping, they have to buy it. And I'm like, I'm not saying silver is bad or gold is bad. I mean, anything is better than fiat money, of course. But all I'm saying is you probably don't want to buy something when it's going crazy unless you want to hold it forever, right? Like Bitcoin, I would buy the top every single day because I understand what it is. But if I'm someone who has no idea on investing whatsoever and I see silver on TV and I just go and buy silver or gold or whatever it is, it's a bad idea because then, like you said, if you don't understand why you are investing into an asset, you will sell it when it doubles, or you will sell it when it goes chopped in half. So having a base understanding of why you are deciding or choosing to take your sweat equity or your, I don't call it money, your fiat currency, and you're buying something, it's fundamental, right? So I like what you said there. I agree. I think 150 is easy, and I like the fact that you said it's going to stay over 100,000. That's a really good one. I didn't think about that too, but it makes sense.
The first thing that every Bitcoiner does, and the most important activity that every Bitcoiner keeps on doing, is buying Bitcoin. And I personally use Relay to buy and sometimes also spend or sell my Bitcoin. And there are two main reasons why I do so. The first one is it's Bitcoin only. They do not do any shit coins. They do not do any cryptos, any stocks, or anything else. This is a tool, an app that is fully focused only and solely on Bitcoin. The second one is self-custody. They give you the keys to your Bitcoin the moment you buy them. You never give them the control over your Bitcoin, and you don't have to trust them because you can verify that you and only you have the keys to your Bitcoin. There's no third-party risk. There's no freezing of your assets. There's no rug pulling. There's nothing of that. Download Relay, the app, on your phone, or go to relay.app on your browser and use code Robin to save fees and get cheaper Bitcoin. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called micro seed. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With micro seed, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase, onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because MicroSeed is not selling the washer. MicroSeed is selling the device that stamps the washer. So you get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today, and you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to microseed.io.